Arnold, who clips a searching ball down the channel that Paul Dummett will have to deal with, and he hooks the ball out of play. It will be a throw into Liverpool midway inside the Newcastle half. 5 minutes on the clock, still Liverpool 0, Newcastle 0. Fairly even start in fairness. Newcastle forcing the only corner so far. Liverpool, unsurprisingly, seeing the majority of the possession. Virgil van Dijk has it just inside his own half, flicks it forward to Jordan Henderson, and now Andy Robertson, left-hand side, plays a 1-2 with Firmino dropping deep. Newcastle, unsurprisingly, getting everyone behind the ball, just nullifying the space for Liverpool to try and work in. Firmino trying to make inroads down the left-hand side, goes back into Robertson, and this is what we're going to see. This is the pattern of the game. The defenders for Liverpool are going to have a lot of time on the ball. Newcastle getting back into shape and trying to nullify the spaces in their own final third.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they have to do. They're just going to get torn to pieces otherwise. But I think Newcastle fans will be pleasantly surprised with when Newcastle have got the ball. They do look like they are going to try and get at least some numbers forward and give us some assist there for Joselu, who doesn't want to be too isolated on the few occasions Newcastle try and counter-attack.
Yeah, just the 2 goals for Joselu so far this season. Back leading the line in place of Solomon Rondon, who's on the bench this afternoon. DeAndre Yedlin now has possession for Newcastle, flicks it down the right-hand channel. It's a good searching ball as well. Muto, who's probably the most likely player to get close to Joselu, has it, flicks it back into Yedlin once again. Newcastle retaining possession, ball worked back to Fernandez on the halfway line. He's looking for an out ball, plays it down the channel to Yedlin once again, who's got forward a couple of times in this game already, whips the ball into the box, comfortably dealt with by Dejan Lovren for Liverpool, and now Andy Robertson should be able to complete the clearance, but all he can do is turn it out play on the turn and out for a Newcastle throw-in, and it is positive from Newcastle. We've seen in that latest attack they're trying to get bodies forward when they do have the ball. Yeah,
full-backs, particularly Yedlin, have got forward as well, so it looks like they might try and at least be on the front foot a little bit more than might have been predicted pre-kick-off. They've still got possession here. Fernandez, little chip ball forward with too much on that one, goes out for a goal kick.
Yeah, not the best quality on that occasion from Fernandez. As I say, Newcastle 5 points clear of the relegation zone. I'm sure Rafa Benitez won't admit this, but it's almost a free hit coming into this game. It would be bonus points if they could get anything against the league leaders, as I mentioned, on this fantastic 7-match winning run in the Premier League, looking to extend that to 8 this afternoon. But Newcastle giving as good as they've got in these opening exchanges. The ball worked out to the left-hand side, whipped into the penalty area by Ritchie, headed clear by Lovren, but Yedlin will pick up the pieces once again on the Newcastle right, floats it into Muto back now to Diame, and they've worked it across to the left-hand flank, crossing position once again, whipped in towards the far post, good delivery, and it's a free header at the far stick for Joselu. He might just be unsighted by Virgil van Dijk. I think it is jumping in front of him, but that is probably more than half an opportunity.
Oh, definitely great opportunity for Newcastle. Ritchie swinging one in, brilliant ball in, just getting over the head of Van Dijk, and Joselu's headed that down into the ground, and should have been hitting the target, should have been putting the away side a goal up.
Yeah, really good opportunity there for Newcastle. Still Liverpool 0, Newcastle 0, but it's been quite an even start to this game, and it's actually the visitors who've created the best opportunity by far. Good patient play from Newcastle inside the Liverpool half led to Matt Ritchie whipping the ball in from the left-hand side. It was over the head of Virgil van Dijk, right on to Joselu, who might have been unsighted by the Dutch central defender, but really a free header no more than 6 yards out. He should have been doing a lot better. He heads it into the ground and wide of the target. From a corner as well, Newcastle had half an opportunity. Kennedy's cross, though, was just a little bit too high for Federico Fernandez. Liverpool seeing plenty of the ball, but not really creating as of yet.
No, but Liverpool are here. Salah threatened to find his way through to goal, just couldn't quite take the ball in his stride. The danger not cleared yet for the visitors. Liverpool still in possession on the edge of the penalty area. It's Robertson just hugging the left-hand touchline, rolls the ball into the feet here of Firmino. Firmino gets the ball across, and that's a great opportunity there for Shaqiri. He's appealing for a corner, but I didn't see a touch off a Newcastle player. He's just scuffed the shot. He was no more than 9 yards out in the middle of the goal, and he should have been putting the home side in front.
He should have been. That's a real sitter, really, by a player of Xherdan Shaqiri's standards, on his left foot as well, his favoured foot, and he just doesn't make the connection he's looking for. It's good play down the left between Firmino and Mane to create the chance. Jurgen Klopp applauding on the sideline, but Shaqiri really should have been finding the back of the net, anything on target there, and Martin Dubravka would have been struggling. But first big opportunity of the match for Liverpool, and certainly a warning sign as we pass the 10-minute mark for Newcastle United, as they've actually won the ball back, the Magpies, on the halfway line, only momentarily. It's picked up by Liverpool once again. Firmino floats it over the top. Mane's knocked down a good one to Shaqiri again on his left foot. This time Diame comes across, and it'll be Liverpool's first corner.
Yeah, just starting to turn the screw, Liverpool, aren't they, having had that scare at the other end. If you're going to defend Shaqiri slightly on that opportunity, the ball was just a touch behind him, wasn't it? But he actually even had time to take a touch and then take the strike. So another ball comes in here, and there comes the strike, and Liverpool have taken the lead, and it's Lovren, unlikely goal scorer, on the half volley, rifles it into the roof of the net.
It's a brilliant strike from Dejan Lovren, such difficult technique. Newcastle, a defensive header clear was a poor one, it lands perfectly for Lovren, and Liverpool have taken an early lead. Liverpool have broken the deadlock at Anfield. They lead Newcastle by 1-0. It's an unlikely goal scorer though, centre-back Dejan Lovren, but it wasn't a defender's finish. It's a first-class rifled half volley into the roof of the net. Liverpool take a short corner. Newcastle fail to deal with the ball when it eventually comes in. Jamal Lascelles, it's a poor header away. It lands perfectly for Dejan Lovren, but he's still got so much work to do on the half volley with his right foot. It's a brilliant connection from the Croatian international. No chance for Dubravka as the ball flies high into the roof of the net. Liverpool 1, Newcastle 0. Really.
Yeah, from a defensive point of view, Newcastle will be disappointed, particularly with the header from Lascelles. He hasn't, I wouldn't say he had time, but he had the option of just flicking that one on out of the way of the danger zone towards the corner flag. Instead opted to head it back into the centre of the goal, and if that falls to an opposition shirt, you're always going to be in trouble. Having said that, it is a brilliant finish on the half volley. Very easy to sky that one, but he's managed to keep it down enough to send it rifling into the roof of the net. Dubravka, absolutely no chance, and Newcastle will be disappointed, having made a fairly bright start.
Yeah, they will, because they were playing some nice football and keeping Liverpool at bay, but then they had that Shaqiri chance, and less than 2 minutes later Lovren was putting the ball into the back of the net to give Liverpool the lead. And the last thing Rafa Benitez would have wanted would be to concede a goal inside the first 15 minutes. It really puts a lot of pressure on Newcastle, whose game plan is unlikely to change. I imagine they will still sit back, but they now have to really, at some point in the game anyway, will have to push on and try and create opportunities. But for the time being, I expect it'll be a case of sitting back and playing as they have been in these opening minutes. But Liverpool with the advantage. Sadio Mane just can't quite take the ball in his stride on the halfway line, but Liverpool quickly win possession back. Alexander-Arnold searching ball over the top, looking for Mohamed Salah, who seems like the central striker today, with Firmino playing slightly behind, Shaqiri to the right and Mane to the left. On this occasion, Jamal Lascelles has come across and cleared his lines for Newcastle. As you say, it wasn't an out-and-out error from Lascelles. He's stretching, he's trying to head it away from the danger zone. It's just he ends up putting it on a plate for Lovren, who finishes superbly. Yeah,
he did, didn't he? I mean, there was still a lot to do for the defenders, particularly from a centre half, but if you've got the option, I think, of just flicking that on and putting it out of the danger zone, I don't think you should be heading it back into the middle of the goal. Always presents potential danger, and that proved to be the case. Liverpool a goal to the good, and as I said, Everton already 2 to the good, and that was done with the second, so they're already 2-0 up away at Burnley.
Yeah, good day so far for the teams from Merseyside, as Liverpool look to come forward again. It's Robertson, left-hand side, cross deep towards the far post, over the head of Sadio Mane, who was the only player really in there. Matt Ritchie can now clear his lines for Newcastle. Looks long towards both Muto and Hosselu, but it's in between the two Newcastle forwards. Liverpool can recycle possession again and work it out to the left-hand side, where Robertson is always an outlet. Wijnaldum now gets involved into the feet of Mane. Again, Robertson to his left, goes into Firmino, who backheels it confidently instead to Jordan Henderson. Now Xherdan Shaqiri back into Henderson once again. Liverpool looking to probe Newcastle with everyone inside their own half, and a good 10 yards or so inside their own half as well. Wijnaldum now out to Robertson. We're in already a crucial period, these next 5 or 10 minutes. The last thing Newcastle can afford to do is concede a second goal. already they really need to just try and hang on in there and keep themselves in the game.
Yeah, just need to not panic, not steady, just try and keep the ship steadied here. They're in a good defensive shape as the army cuts this one out. Muto brings that one down on the chest, and could be a chance here for a counter-attack for Newcastle.
Yeah, lovely ball from Hosselu down the channel, and Muto in the end, I think, it's Isaac Hayden wants the free kick. It looked like he probably slipped on the edge of the Liverpool penalty area, but he may have been helped on his way. Incidentally, Manchester City have taken the lead away at Leicester as well. Bernardo Silva scored for Pep Guardiola's side, who were looking to return to winning ways after their defeat to Crystal Palace at the weekend. Of course, City, Liverpool's nearest rivals in the title race, but Liverpool already 1 goal in front. That Dejan Lovren goal. Newcastle were a little bit sloppy from the short corner as well. No one got out to close the cross down, and that meant they were a little bit stretched. And as you say, Lascelles' headed clearance could have been a lot more convincing, even if he was conceding a corner.
Because they're usually quite good at clearing such danger, and more danger here for Newcastle as Fernandes has conceded a corner.
Yeah, he wasn't happy about the decision. He felt the last touch came off Mo Salah, but it is a Liverpool corner. Virgil van Dijk, Lovren again making his way forward from the back. We mentioned Newcastle's threats from set pieces, but Liverpool have certainly got some aerial prowess in there as well. It's Trent Alexander-Arnold who's going to take this set piece for the home side. Plenty of bodies grouped around the penalty spot waiting for the delivery. Whipped in by Alexander-Arnold. Good delivery as well. Newcastle just about scramble it clear, but it was whipped in at pace towards the near post. Newcastle might actually be able to launch a counter-attack. The ball worked out to the right-hand side. Half an opportunity. Kennedy driving forward, goes down, and the referee belatedly, perhaps with a little bit of help from his assistant, has gave the free kick in Newcastle's favour.
Yeah, Jordan Henderson arguing his case. The referee seemed to take an edge, didn't he, to give the free kick. It wasn't like he was trying to play an advantage, because there was clearly not one on. So it might well have been a word from the linesman there. It's brought a halt to that counter-attack, and if the free kick's going to be given, you'd expect to see a yellow card, which hasn't been the case.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same. He had a couple of bites there, Jordan Henderson, to bring Kennedy down. Not much contact with either, but enough with the Brazilian moving at that kind of pace to force him to the ground, as Matt Ritchie will take the free kick for Newcastle. Good angle for his left foot to whip this in from the right-hand side, and it's a good delivery headed towards goal, straight down the throat of Alisson. In the end, it was Muto who got up at the front post, perhaps a suspicion of offside as well, as Liverpool now counter-attack. Ball played through to Mane, and had his touch been a little bit better, then he would have been bearing down on Martin Dubravka's goal.
Yeah, he should have been, shouldn't he? Just seemed to step over the ball and just didn't quite sort his feet out there, Mane. If he had, he would have been through on goal. It was poor defending again from Newcastle. There's the easy ball straight through the heart of the defence, and they still haven't learned from that, as Mane is in again here, and he could be making it too. Dubravka does well, and does partially blocks that one, and the clearance eventually made by the Newcastle defence, but all the pressure here from Liverpool.
Yeah, Newcastle can't get hold of the ball, and when they lose it cheaply like they have done, it's giving Liverpool opportunities. Alexander-Arnold for the Reds. Incidentally, Leicester have equalised at home against Manchester City. Mark Albrighton has made it 1 apiece at the King Power Stadium. Spurs' goal came through Christian Eriksen. They lead Bournemouth by 1-0. Another side on the coattails of Liverpool at the top of the standings. But Liverpool in this game controlling possession. It's Dejan Lovren, the score of their goal, into Jordan Henderson. Again, Newcastle content to allow Liverpool to have possession around the halfway line. Lovren once more gets involved, fizzes it into the feet of Salah, whose touch under pressure from Dummett wasn't the best, and well, then there's a loose touch from Muto, gives possession back. Shaqiri trying to clip the ball over the top of the Newcastle defence, doesn't quite come off, but Alexander-Arnold will get hold of the pieces for Liverpool once again. He switches from right to left, right across towards Andy Robertson, who controls, plays it infield to Wijnaldum. Henderson back halfway now with Van Dijk, and they will go again with Dejan Lovren. Liverpool, but very comfortable, very calm in possession. They, of course, don't have to really force the issue. Mane now has it into the feet of Wijnaldum, holds off the clutches of Muto, releases Shaqiri. Shaqiri now out to Alexander-Arnold, crossing position, but this time Alexander-Arnold gets it all wrong and it will go out of play for a throw-in on the far side.
Yeah, patient build-up there from Liverpool. Did well to create the space on the right-hand side. Unlike Alexander-Arnold, he's a better crosser of the ball than that. Way overhit by everyone. Just looking at the replay of that Mane chance again, and similar to the one he had a moment or two earlier, his first touch wasn't the best, and that's given Dubravka the opportunity to make the block. Yeah,
it's good brave goalkeeping as well from Dubravka, but had Mane been able to get that down a little bit sharper, then may well have given the goalkeeper no chance, but he couldn't quite get his shot away. As Shaqiri now on the volley for Liverpool. That one's not one for the collector's his collection, because that's a really poor finish, high over the top of the crossbar. Still Liverpool 1, Newcastle 0. The Reds dominating possession as you would expect. Probably see more of the ball as well since Dejan Lovren gave them the lead. They've had a couple of half opportunities. Twice, in fact, Sadio Mane's control has let him down when he may well have been one-on-one with Martin Dubravka. On the second occasion, the Newcastle goalkeeper was really brave in coming out and smothering Mane on the edge of his own at 6-yard box. Newcastle have had one half opportunity. It came from a Matt Ritchie free kick, which Yoshinori Muto got his head to, but couldn't really trouble Alisson in the Liverpool goal. So Liverpool lead this game by 1-0, and at the moment look in control.
Yeah, they do. Another team certainly in control is Everton, because they're now 3 goals to the good. We'll get that goal scorer for you shortly. So that one could be over already as far as Everton and Burnley are concerned. Most unlike Burnley-like compared to last season, of course, when they were so tight at the back. Newcastle here with a chance, and it's Ritchie, I think it was, who took the strike on there with his right foot. It was a good 25 yards out, but it just opened up nicely there for Ritchie. Can't blame him for taking the strike on. Didn't quite catch it as he would have liked, and it goes 3 or 4 yards wide of Alisson's upright. The keeper was very confident it was going wide, didn't bother to make the dive, but still a little bit of promise here from Newcastle as they play the ball down the left-hand side this time. I think Ritchie was expecting Muto to make that run a little bit sooner, and therefore it was easily cut out by the Liverpool defence.
Yeah, it's Gylfi Sigurdsson from the penalty spot that's got Everton's third goal. They're clearly responding from their 6-2 defeat to Tottenham on Sunday, and Tottenham also riding on the crest of a wave. They're 2-0 up now at home against Bournemouth, so plenty of early goals in the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League. We've reached the quarter mark in this contest, the one we're watching. Liverpool 1, Newcastle 0. Dejan Lovren's goal. The difference between the two sides, I'll hand you over now to Dan to take you through to the half-time whistle.
Yeah, reached the quarter mark, and it's gone quickly as there's been action all the way, really. Liverpool looking much more the dangerous of the sides with the vast majority of the possession, which they have right now with Alexander-Arnold. Just plays it inside to Shaqiri. Shaqiri with that wonderful left foot, and played it out to Robertson, who first time hit the cross in, looked threatening until Dubravka came out and claimed, but plenty of room down both flanks at the moment for the league leaders.
Yeah, Newcastle keeping it tight and narrow, aren't they, trying to stop Liverpool's threat through the middle of the park, but that is leaving space for Alexander-Arnold and Andy Robertson on either flank, and Robertson in particular have been getting forward to good effect down that left-hand side. It's almost the case Newcastle are having to sacrifice that, because if they do make the game too wide, then there's going to be space in behind for Firmino, Salah coming from the central areas. So at the moment it's a case of damage limitation from a Newcastle point of view.
Yeah, it certainly is, as they play a long ball forward. Fernandes it was, looking for Joselu, but nowhere near finding him. It was Heung-mon Son who got the second goal for Spurs. He's been in great form of late, of course, for the Londoners. Liverpool just playing a long ball forward this time, bit of a hopeful ball, unlike them. And it's Firmino into Shaqiri. Nice little flick there from Shaqiri, and just took a little flick off Fernandes, which stopped it finding Salah, who would have been in through on goal.
Yeah, it's a clever idea, isn't it, from Shaqiri? You can see he's playing with confidence, and he's trying to flick it in behind the Newcastle defender. Paul Dummett just about gets a block. He doesn't really know anything about it, but he gets enough of a block on it to take it away from Salah and into the grasp of Dubravka, but you can see Salah appreciating the idea from Shaqiri. Big round of applause for the Swiss international for the intent, and you can just see that the confidence is oozing from Liverpool all over the pitch.
Yeah, Shaqiri's done well, hasn't he, since he came into Liverpool? There's a few eyebrows raised thinking, why on earth would Liverpool need Shaqiri when they did sign him? They didn't pay too much money in modern day terms for him, 12-13 million, and whenever he's been called upon, he has had an effect for them.
Yeah, he certainly has. I think it's a case of he's a good player in a good team, which brings the best out of him even more. He's played for big teams in the past, but there's a lot of responsibility on his shoulders at Stoke, defensive responsibility as well. He doesn't really have that in this Liverpool side, so he's allowed to play, he's allowed to create, and yeah, he's certainly been a good signing.
Yeah, he certainly has, as Liverpool just confidently play the ball around at the back. A little bit of pressing here from Newcastle, which they haven't really done up to this point. Ball ricochets, I thought ricocheted off Ritchie, but they have actually won the throw in there. Newcastle must have taken a little touch off Alexander-Arnold. So throw in for Ritchie midway inside the Liverpool half. Eventually finds Muto there. Nice little turn from Muto outside of the boot. Plays it out to the right hand side with Yedlin. Yedlin puts the ball in, but far too close, and catching practice there for Alisson. And he sets away Shaqiri quickly on the inside right position. Shaqiri keeps going, unchallenged as yet to Salah. Nice little ball in from Salah, but just a little bit too high. And the chance has gone there for Liverpool, but looking very dangerous on the counter when Newcastle do get forward.
Yeah, Yedlin's initial crossing was too floated and easy for Alisson to claim, and from there the counter-attack's really swift from Liverpool. I thought Salah actually put the ball into exactly the area which you'd want from a striker, but Firmino just wasn't really going all guns blazing to try and get in at the far post, and it goes over his head. But yeah, at times when Newcastle do come forward, that's where they're at the most vulnerable, and we know Liverpool can counter with a lot of pace, so that's what they have to watch out for, really, Newcastle. It's why it's such a precarious situation, because they want to push forward, they want to try and get the equalising goal, but they can quite easily get undone on the counter-attack.
Yeah, it's just getting that balance, isn't it, when you go to places like Anfield, when to drop back, when to go forward. I haven't done too bad of a job of it so far, Newcastle, without any reward. Van Dijk takes possession from a Robertson throw-in, just rolls it across to Lovren. Turn gives it to Alexander-Arnold. Alexander-Arnold just dissecting Muto and Joselu as he gives it to Van Dijk. Van Dijk again to Robertson. Newcastle just content to drop off on this occasion. Looks like they might have a tactic this afternoon of dropping off, but then just occasionally doing the press just to try and catch the Liverpool defence off guard, as a free kick's been awarded here for Newcastle. Didn't quite see that one. Must have been a late challenge on Hayden, much to the annoyance of Jordan Henderson.
Yeah, I didn't quite spot that either. Hayden just loses control of the ball. To me, there's nothing really in that. They both raised their legs. Henderson seems to get the ball, and Hayden wasn't really anywhere near, but he ended up on the ground, and the referees gave the free kick. I can see why Jordan Henderson was a little annoyed. Yeah,
it did seem like he was the one who got the first touch to the ball, so see why the annoyance was in places. Ritchie struggles to keep this one in, does well to do so under the challenge there from Alexander-Arnold. Cross comes in, Van Dijk, as he usually does, wins the header, and now the counter is on again for Liverpool with Mane and Firmino exchanging passes there. Diarmi does well to break this one up into the feet of Muto. Muto is just going to try and test the pace there of Van Dijk. Of course, Van Dijk, with his fantastic positional play, does get there first. Manchester United incidentally have taken the lead against Huddersfield. I think it was Matic there, the goal scorer for United. So the so-called big clubs doing well so far this afternoon. It's Lovren out to Robertson. Half an hour now on the clock, and Liverpool leading the table, of course, a goal to the good. Robertson still in possession here. It's actually Henderson who took over as he went down the left flank, had Hayden for company, and Hayden's sliding tackle puts it out for a throw-in for Liverpool, which Robertson will take. Don't take too much time over these things. Liverpool like to keep the game flowing. Poor ball in this time towards Shaqiri. Half cleared there by Newcastle, but With the lack of numbers forward, they've given possession away again. Alisson to Alexander-Arnold. Arnold back inside to Lovren. Van Dijk to Robertson again. This little ball into the feet here of Shaqiri, who finds himself on the left-hand side this time. Little clip ball forward. Salah does well to keep possession, and Liverpool looking dangerous on the edge of the area. Firmino into Alexander-Arnold and just manages to put the ball behind Mane there, otherwise it surely would have been a tap-in.
Yeah, really good patient play from Liverpool once again. They're almost luring Newcastle into a false sense of security when they're passing the ball around the halfway line, and then 2 or 3 passes quickly and they're into the penalty box. It was worked nicely from Wijnaldum to Firmino on the right hand side. He played it into the overlapping Alexander-Arnold, who's just pulled it back towards the edge of the 6-yard box when Mane, Salah had both made a dart in, so it was always just slightly behind them. But really good play from Liverpool once more. It feels like when they want to go through the gears, they're capable of doing it whenever they feel like it.
Yeah, it was just one of those crosses that just you couldn't have dissected the 3 forward players any better if you tried, wasn't it? So unlucky on that occasion. Liverpool taking over again with Alexander-Arnold in the inside right position here, moving forward. Little clip ball forward towards Salah. Must have taken a touch off a Newcastle man. That might have been Ritchie, as a corner has been awarded. But Liverpool starting to turn the screw here, putting a lot of pressure.
Hey guys, what's up? My name is Marshall and welcome to this.
Big men going forward again for Liverpool. Van Dijk and Lovren to name 2 of them. The corner's going to be a left-footed in-swinger from Shaqiri. Shaqiri near post, not the best corner. It's a good header actually, because he did well there. It was Fernandez not to put it out for another throw-in. It's just another corner. It's just going to be another throw-in for Liverpool. Taken quickly, giving Newcastle any time to set the defence, and that's a hook ball forward towards Van Dijk, and for a centre half, that's a superb touch from Van Dijk as he lays it back into the feet of Robertson. Robertson hits the first man. Newcastle do have the chance here to at least try and get out of their own half, but can't quite manage to do so, because again it's a poor clearance, and the pressure really being pumped up here now by Liverpool. And just as I say that, Newcastle do manage to get the ball here with Ritchie down the left hand side, and that's just a long hopeless punt forward. Possession given away again.
Yeah, poor from Matt Ritchie. Needs to retain possession a lot better. Liverpool continue to lead Newcastle by a 1-0, and they continue to dominate in this game, seeing so much of the ball. And when
stabs it through a gap, ball away, and Vardy tries to get there. Delph gets there ahead of him. Danilo just rolls it to his side. He's now deep right hand side. Now De Bruyne picks the ball up. His ball into the box, blocked away by Morgan, backpedaling. Good defending that. Leicester try and play their way out now, and they're back on the ball. They've got a little bit of time. And the ball chipped right across the face. Very risky ball that. And in the end, Ricardo just punts that ball anywhere will do. But the ball keeps coming back here. Man City very strong in possession of it. Looked like the home team. You know, there is a coherent counter-attack by Leicester, but they're just not seeing enough of the ball, really. I mean, the Championship side did have Riyad Mahrez to find that perfect out ball for Vardy, but they haven't got him anymore. And quite difficult to thrive on the lack of possession that they've got. I would say they're about 65% Man City. And now, Maguire trying to play out from the back, does just that. They tighten the corner flag left hand side. And then it's a long out ball headed back where it came by Stones into midfield. Chowdhury picks it up and brings it down under control. Indeed, he straightens up, beats his man. Rolls a good ball into Maddison, picked up a good position, looking for the killer out ball again. That's not bad, you know. but neither is the defending from Stones. Reads it, gets there before Vardy, nods it back to his keeper.
Yeah, Leicester again looking to knock it quickly upfield, looking to get it long towards Vardy as often as possible. Maddison looks like he's playing a little bit closer to Vardy now, and maybe a change in shape from Claude Puel's men. But I thought when City scored, the fact that it was so easy, I thought, well, they've worked them out. They'll create more chances now. But it's been nearly 20 minutes since that goal went in, and they haven't had another shot on target to really test Schmeichel. No, just one, De Bruyne's effort, which was easily saved.
Yeah, I mean, they've been well organised. I mean, I'm saying, they're defending too deep in a lump, but they're defending deep in a lump, and that's always quite hard to break down. You do get the feeling, a team the stature and the quality of Man City will find a way. The players are too good, as soon as you get that one-touch passing, and that's how it happens. And here we go again. This time, Aguero's little touch wasn't good enough, but the ball breaks back to him at the edge of the area. Out comes the keeper, though, Schmeichel. Then the ball coming off the toe end of Aguero, can't get in the end of his own little ball into the box, and there's another goal at Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, Tottenham 3-0 up now against Bournemouth. Lucas Moura with the goal. Others scorers Son and Eriksson for them.
Raheem Sterling, good ball into the box here, maybe an opportunity. That ball just taken off the head of Sane. Brilliant defending that by who was that? Sane played into the box. Now the cutback looks good. Aguero over the goal frame from close range. He had to fetch back for that ball, off balance. You always wondered, could he get the right connection?
It was a great pass from De Bruyne, just split the defence. Sane made the run, and he was, counting on De Bruyne finding him, and he did just that. The cutback was all right, but it was bouncing, wasn't it? And that makes life slightly harder for Aguero. Even so, he'd still back him to at least hit the target, a player of his quality.
Yeah, I think that ball deflected off Sane's cutback and made it bobble, and then the ball is placed slightly behind him. Here comes De Bruyne, straightens up again. He's got a real opportunity here. Again, Sane into the box. Real opportunity. That ball is stabbed off the line by Maguire, with Schmeichel beaten. Well, you said they haven't done anything, and then all of a sudden, in the space of 2 minutes, they've created two absolutely gilt-edged openings. Maybe should have taken one of them, but Leicester being given a bit of a lifeline. Chilwell for Ndidi, ball out his feet for Maddison, who surrounded soon by those pale blue shirts. Finds Chowdhury, who peeled out to the right hand side. Ball back with Mendy. Leicester just getting hold of the ball. They're playing, like I said, you play that deep, then as soon as somebody breaks past you, I mean, they're in on goal, aren't they? But I can't believe the ball didn't hit the back of the net there.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity. I think Sane's ball across the face of goal has maybe got to be better in that instance, and it's the second time in a couple of minutes that you think Sane's got to do better with his delivery. If he does, City are probably ahead in this game, but unable to take advantage.
Yeah, meanwhile, Chowdhury's taken on Delph. Delph's put the ball out. You might argue he went through Chowdhury afterwards, but the big lad didn't mind. He picked himself up and will take the corner kick. I think Leicester might be a slightly bigger team today. So, Maddison, can he get it right? He's got Vardy, Morgan, Maguire to aim at. In comes the delivery. Good defensive header away. Ball will break back just to the edge of the box. Ricardo puts a good looking ball in. Two getting each other way. Ball might break for Vardy. And as he's trying to hit his volley in, he just gets caught there, and no free kick or anything like it, but he might be a bit sore. Chowdhury, under pressure there, does really well. Lays the ball back to Schmeichel, who booms it out, maybe because he wants Vardy to get treatment or something.
Went down heavily, didn't he, Jamie Vardy? I think he was slowly picking himself back up after he went down, and I'm just getting a replay of how that chance for Sane came about. And Schmeichel's mistake is a mistake at the other end. There's a chance for Vardy, saved by the keeper, and Leicester can't follow up, just cleared away. Well, cut back to the live action, and Vardy's nearly in at goal.
Yep, Vardy on his haunches at the minute, but Leicester still have it down left hand side. Chilwell, can he create anything out of this? Two around him, he chips the ball to the edge of the area. Maddison lets it run across his body. Chance for a shot for Maddison. He straightens up. Oh, that shot parried away at the near post by Ederson. He flicks it back in, and then Delph is able just to boot that ball clear. So Leicester try to hit back now You know, it's one apiece. Good ball into the box. A chance for Chowdhury at the far post. He flicks it in. It's rolled across the goal line. Smash clear. Oh, dearie me. Chowdhury's got his hands on his head. Oh, blimey. I mean, City rocking and a reeling.
Unbelievable that. How Leicester haven't scored from those two chances. Chowdhury just needs anybody just to knock that into the back of the net. It rolls across the face of goal, agonising for Leicester.
Yeah, Mendy tries to close down Gundogan, who gets a good out ball here. Here comes Sane. It's Matidi here now driving into the box. Great challenge. Great challenge from Ricardo, biting back there. I think he's put that ball out for a corner, but he needed to make contact there, and he did. Brilliant from the right back there. Wow, what a game this is.
All of a sudden, yeah, it's just burst into life. Last 5 minutes, we've had 4 great chances for somebody to take the lead in this game, and both sides will be wondering how they're not in front right now.
I'm enjoying this all right. City now with the corner kick. I think it's about the 5th. Can De Bruyne get it right? 2 hands in the air for him. Right-footed, in-swinging to the far post. Michael comes out and just jabs it. He gets something on it enough that will take it out for a corner through the box. And a throw-in on the right-hand side. So again, a bit of defending for Leicester to do. The clock hits 41 minutes. And we've had 2 goals, we've had excitement, chance at either end. Just when we think Leicester are down and out and conceding too much room, they put a spurt on and make a break. And Vardy's excellent. Oh, the ball came off the heels of the defender. I mean, the assistant must have been so tempted. I bet his flag went up there, but he might have been able to run on to the end of that. And
then he pulls it back for a free kick at the other end. Maybe he'd blown the whistle thinking he's going to cut it out. As we get another look at Chowdhury's effort at goal.
Was that a save by Ederson?
It's a save, isn't it? And it kind of flicks across the line and nobody's there to stick it into the back of the net.
Again, that ball, I mean, they're trying to run players into that channel where Delph keeps coming slightly on his inside. You know, he's under pressure today. And of course there's nobody really who covers him. Here's an opportunity for Leicester into the box. They go, real chance here. Looking for the cutback. Ball into Madison. He can't get his feet right. Oh, dearie me. That is a gilt-edged opportunity. I mean, he's gone with the correct leg there, with his right leg. But he just couldn't get the contact.
Flurry of chances at the King Power Stadium, where both teams will be wondering how they have not scored. Firstly, City 2 in quick succession, both coming the way of Sane with the setup on the first one, playing it across for Aguero, but he missed from close range, and then Sane's ball across the face of goal forced Maguire into a goal line clearance. Just as it looked like the champions were getting on top, back come Leicester. 3 great chances to go ahead in this one. Vardy one-on-one saved by Ederson, and then Chowdhury with his effort across the line, and then Madison with a near post effort flicks it wide of the goal when he probably should have done better. Great Boxing Day entertainment at the King Power Stadium. Still 1 apiece.
The Foxes have got a puncher's chance in this, haven't they? Better than that perhaps.
3 great chances they've wasted. You wonder whether that'll come back to haunt them, but they're playing so well, you think they'll probably create more.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this game could be 3-3, never mind 1 apiece. Chilwell's robbed of the ball. That's great play by Bernardo Silva. Finds Aguero, puts him on the run through, but there are massed ranks of darker blue shirts there, and Maguire picks that ball up. This game going end to end, brilliant to watch. You know, both teams have fancied their chances here. They've both shown that they're capable of creating. Ball in the middle of the park. That's one well by Ndidi, and then he's chipped up. And it should be a yellow card for Gundogan, I think. Referee Mike Dean just says, all right, fair dues. Free kick for Leicester. Gundogan's a lucky boy. I mean, if you've got somebody running away from you, you chip them up. I mean, for me, yellow card.
Yeah, he just sort of lifts his leg to make sure he makes contact and trips him up, which is kind of cynical, isn't it, when you look back at it? But again, Mike Dean's not got that right. He's not had a great half refereeing the game. Fortunately, he's not taken away from the game much the decisions that he's got wrong, other than, I suppose, if you're a City fan, the Chilwell foul that wasn't.
You see a shot from the edge of the area, right-footed half volley. I think that might have been Maguire, actually.
Yeah, it was.
Anyway, ended up near the corner flag. Loving this game. You know, no stodge about this. It's usually the second game after Christmas, isn't it, that gets a bit leggy and weary. But there's nothing leggy, weary about this. You know, we saw Vardy through. While they were showing Vardy going through, they were looking at when Schmeichel had given the ball away to Aguero. Right? You know, his daisy cutter out was a terrible ball. But anyway, we're cut off. He hasn't got a chance to breathe here. Sane now on the ball. taking on Ricardo, edge of the area. Ricardo sticks to his guns. He's got Chowdhury with him as well. De Bruyne goes one more, finds Delph in the middle of the park. Maddison tries to contact him, but he can't. Sané's back on the ball, but Ricardo gets a foot in. Brilliant challenge from him. Really like him, and he's very good going forward as well. He just tries to get past Delph. He does for a moment, and then a rather curious ball back, but at least he kept hold of it. Yeah, I think he's got stuff, Ricardo. You know, no disrespect to Leicester, but I can see other teams caught in him.
He's a great attacking fullback, isn't he? And he did well. He's done well defensively for the most part in this game, but a game I covered earlier in the season, he made a great 60-70 lung-busting run to set up a goal for Leicester. He puts in the shift down that right-hand side. He's got Albrighton covering in front of him. You know, it's difficult to attack down that flank. Sané's giving it a good go today, but it's a good matchup. Good matchups all over the park, individual matchups.
Yeah, there are. One apiece. Chowdhury again goes right hand side, controls that ball in his chest, back to Ricardo. He's looking for a route forward. Delph's got to leave Chowdhury to his own devices, and then Mendy comes to join in with Ndidi, who's had a good game in the middle of the park, won a fair bit of ball. I think Leicester growing in confidence, but that's not to say that they can't get caught without their pants down. That's happened a couple of times. Maddison's having a good game, isn't he? But he's caught by Aguero, who does really well there. Fights back, middle of the park. It's City now on the counter-attack. They've got bodies forward. Raheem Sterling running with the ball. That ball just won't sell for him. Indeed, he gets a foot in. Raheem Sterling keeps on going, just at the edge of the area. Back heel from him. Finds De Bruyne in the box. Chance to get the crossing blocked by Ricardo. We're closing in on the end of the first half here with Man City with the ball just at the edge of the box. Chowdhury back to Delph. Can they get the ball in? Yes, they do. Sweep it in. It's a poor ball this time, and then Schmeichel can pick it up. Might be the last action of this breathless first half. Brilliant first half of football. As well, I think the referee has called it one apiece at the break.
Half time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A really entertaining first half with City taking the lead after 14 minutes. Aguero flicking the ball through for Bernardo to score after some poor Leicester defending. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms. Albrighton heading home at the far post from Vardy's cross. Controversial decision in the build-up to the goal, though, with Chilwell looking like he'd fouled Danilo. Then a breathless last 5 minutes with chances at either end. Aguero missing a great opportunity. Half time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1. Half time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Half-time at the King Power Stadium, and it's Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. A cracking Boxing Day affair. City taking the lead on 14 minutes through Bernardo after a fine through ball from Aguero. But 5 minutes later, Leicester back on level terms thanks to Mark Albrighton heading home Vardy's cross at the far post. Then a breathless final 10 minutes in which both teams should have scored. Aguero missing a sitter for City. In the other end, Maddison and Chowdhury went equally as close. 1-1 at the break. Welcome back then for the second half of this encounter between Leicester and Manchester City. James Maddison about to get the second half underway. 1 apiece at half-time. Anybody's guess who could win this one? I think it's been a really good end-to-end encounter. Plenty of chances towards the end of the first half as well. Both teams will be wondering how they're not ahead. And, well, said it at the top of the broadcast, but we felt that Leicester had a chance in this game. And I think the belief, John, in them having a chance has only grown based on the first half performance.
Yeah, I think so. I felt that coming into the game, the Leicester boys were thinking, right, well, yeah, why can't we? You know, they played him in the League Cup, and they probably felt that they should have done better. And so I think that there would have been belief. Don't forget, it's a former champion team. So
some daylight between. Keep on the coattails of Liverpool as attempt to chase the ball at the minute. Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. Independent off-tube studio commentary coverage. As Chilwell's forced to go back to his goalkeeper and picked up from where we left off at the end of the first half. Not a lot between these two sides. Schmeichel going to knock this one clear. No change at half-time, by the way, so as you were in terms of the two starting lineups for this game. As I say, I don't think it'll be long until we see some changes, and that is maybe where the difference will come into it. And the quality that Manchester City have on the bench with David Silva and Gabriel Jesus, amongst others. Ball up towards Chowdhury, who's strong again in the middle of the park, wins it. Look good again, the Leicester City 21-year-old midfielder, and now it's worked out to Chilwell on this left-hand side. Chilwell's got two men ahead of him. He's going to try and cut between two City players. It breaks the way of Mendy. Now it's with Maddison. Maddison thinks about a cross. It might have a shot here. He goes to curl one and curls it wide of the target in the end, but there again he was allowed to have a shot. Still creating chances, Leicester, very much in this game still.
Yeah, he's a classy player, Maddison. He's a proper good number 10, isn't he? Old school, really. Looks up. He's a long way away from goal and backs himself there. I don't mind that. He struck his shot firmly, but he always had too much to do curling around the post. Now City go forward. That's a brilliant ball to Aguero. Takes it right off his toe and inside the box. Wow, I mean, that's tremendous stuff from Man City, and they come forward now. It's a good game, this one.
Yep, end to end at the minute as Fabian Delph has it in the middle of the park, but decides against just chipping it into the penalty area. Now it's with Danilo on towards Sterling, and again it's a wall of dark blue shirts that greets City. It's still sitting deep, Leicester, but it's so difficult for City to find a way through. The ball is played out to the far side, and a chance for Gundogan drifting in field. It's now played to Delph. Delph's ball is out towards Sterling, but it's been difficult for Sterling to get there, and Chilwell actually heads it out of play for a throw-in for Manchester City, who really need to find a way through. So they need to keep pace with Liverpool at the top of the table. Of course, those two sides meet January the 3rd, I think, that game, which may well go a long way to deciding the title, the way that the season is playing out so far. As Laporte has it here. Not seen him make any more of those forward runs into the Leicester half of the field. Indeed, he might have a problem here for Leicester. He stayed down. I think play's going to stop so he can get some treatment.
Yeah, I mean, half the City players are pointing to putting the ball out, and the other half don't want it. I mean, it's ridiculous. So we're playing on a what? Looks like we are with Gundogan.
Indeed, he's back up. He's actually taking his position in the middle of the park again. Felt like they were just allowing him to get back up. Some of the City players, as you say, is his De Bruyne. Plays that right to Sane, but there's no way through. This is a similar way problems that that Chelsea had against Leicester on Saturday. Lots of the ball, but just didn't do anything with it as Danilo rides one challenge, gets the ball out towards Sane. Sane's going to get the cross in, that's blocked. Leicester again defending well, again well organised, and again pushing Manchester City back.
I mean, for City, the ball's not fizzing and buzzing around, is it? Sané takes 3 touches there, and in the end, it's an offside ball. You know, you've got to move that ball, you've got to shift it really quickly. We saw that first half with the goal, didn't we? And with the opportunities they created, bang, bang, bang. Here it's like everybody takes 2 or 3 touches. It's all gone a little bit slow for them. Slow ball kills you. And there, Aguero's he's offside. It's a good offside trap.
Early stages of the second half of the King Power Stadium, and Leicester still giving as good as they're getting against the champions Manchester City. One apiece, with Leicester having created the only opening of the second period so far. James Maddison collecting the ball on the edge of the box, and Manchester City inviting him to shoot. He curled one wide of the target in the end. At the other end of the field, City have had plenty of possession but not able to open up Leicester, who are sitting very deep, plenty of men behind the ball, and there's just no way through right now for Manchester City, who are perhaps moving the ball a bit slowly at the start of the second period.
Sure are. Delph, 2-3 touches, rolls that ball, is inside, and goes back to Stones. So yeah, I mean, it was helter-skelter first half. You don't get that sense of it now, but that's better. Bernardo finds Raheem Sterling, and he shows too much, and Brighton wins it back, and then Chilwell can clear his lines. Percentage ball, the header back, and Laporte sweeps up under pressure from Vardy. Subs are going to play a part here, you feel. Already I get a sense that maybe Man City look a little bit tired, but you know, I'm sure they've got plenty of good players on that bench to bring on.
Yeah, they've got plenty of options on the bench today. Already mentioned David Silva and Gabriel Jesus, but other options include former Leicester man Riyad Mahrez, Phil Foden, of course, much talked about him being perhaps a future England international and superstar in that midfield. Zinchenko, Otamendi, Walker and Muric complete the bench for them. For Leicester, Johnny Evans, Grezal, Damari Gray, Bordes. Here comes City, low ball into the 6-yard box, and Schmeichel takes it with a couple of players converging in on him. Good ball in from De Bruyne.
He was, and Schmeichel there comes and takes it, but it's right on the end of his fingertips, isn't it? Like tempting. Ooh, you want this? And then he just pulls it back in just at the nick of time. But, well, Guardiola looking very anxious in his technical area, just pacing around. It's like, well, the season could be getting derailed right at this point. And he's not as if he's up against rubbish where, you know, it's a problem to be solved for his team, because they, like you said, can't seem to find an easy way through at the minute.
No, it's difficult for them right now. Guardiola is a frustrated man in his technical area, stood right on the edge of his technical area, trying to give out some instructions. Not working for them, you're right, they do look a bit tired, and I do often think that they look short in certain positions. Cannot believe they haven't replaced or at least got a successor for Fernandinho in the squad, given the amount of money they have at their disposal, or another left back. Seems crazy for a team, even though they won the title last year, to leave themselves short in certain positions.
Well, I think Delph is an alright auxiliary left back, and he's, you know, a more than decent holding midfielder, but he can't play both as they're asking him to do today. Just ridiculous. And you know, he's been found wanting there as Maguire comes out and he gets a bit of the ball, but also a lot of the man, and he's going to get a yellow card off Mike Dean. We haven't seen too many yellow cards today, have we? Bernardo caught there.
Yeah, it's first yellow card of the game, that one for Harry Maguire. And he can have no real complaints. He
got a bit.
Got a bit, but absolutely took out. I think the impact of wiping out the smaller Bernardo Silva is what got in the yellow card in the end. Certainly the City players didn't like it either.
Well, that's the reducer, but for me Bernardo would be the man you'd probably be, despite the fact he's scored, would most likely the man you'd hook off, wouldn't you, if you're going to make a change. I'd be looking to bring Mahrez on against his former club and playing him wide out right and let Raheem Sterling play more centrally.
Here comes the free kick. Gundogan takes, not a bad delivery as well, but headed away well by the man who gave the free kick away, Maguire, and Chowdhury nods it out of the box. Delph will collect it, finds De Bruyne. He'll quickly get it back into the penalty area. It's going to bounce off Albrighton, who prevents it going behind for a corner, but it's a dreadful clearance from Albrighton. It comes straight to Sterling. Sterling's low cross is cleared away by Maguire, and Bernardo will pick it up for City again.
Well, I don't know why Albright's found himself in that left-back slot there. You know, he's right foot, he wants to be out right wing, really, ahead of Ricardo. Chowdhury seems to be playing in that position. Yeah, out on the left-hand side, he's struggling clearing his lines. Yeah,
it's not a very bit of play from Albrighton, as De Bruyne is not happy about something. I think the throw-in has gone the way of Leicester yet. Dean not winning any favours with the Manchester City players as we tick towards the hour mark, and not seen anything really from Manchester City as an attacking force. That loss to Chelsea really seems to have knocked them out of their stride. They beaten 2-0 by Chelsea, and then of course lost on Saturday to Crystal Palace. And here they're finding Leicester very hard work. Sane has it, works it in field towards Delph under a bit of pressure, goes backwards, and City keep possession at the King Power Stadium, work it down the line, one apiece in this game as De Bruyne looks to get the low ball in again, cleared away by Maguire once more. Leicester have done well defending those low crosses in for the most part. As Ndidi, I'm not sure, I think he was hoping Ricardo was making the run down the right hand side, but it didn't come in. It's going to be a throw in.
Yeah, not the same wavelength there, but Ndidi's had quite a good game in the middle, I think. A bit of a wrecking ball. They're offering a little bit out wide to Man City, but when the ball comes back in, there's no room in the middle. Yeah, it's all very congested and very frustrating for Manchester City at the minute.
Yeah, here's Bernardo Silva, works it out for Sterling. Back to Bernardo Silva, nice step over, and then he gets a low cross in. It's only Aguero to aim for in the box, and he's managed to win the ball back. Sterling has it now. Sterling will chip one towards a far post. Not a good attempt at a cross from Raheem Sterling in the end. Badly overhits it. He's going to go to Ricardo on the far side. Great tackle from Aguero. Brilliant challenge to win the ball back for Manchester City. Then he goes down really softly looking for the free kick and wins it.
Dear. I mean,
he bought that one.
Well, yeah, brilliant. And then just awful from the referee because he goes down. Ricardo should have that ball back, and then, brilliant challenge that, wasn't it? Full-blooded. You forget what a good player Aguero is at times. Looks silly with that new haircut. Shock of whitish blonde hair.
Yeah. How does the referee Mike Dean not know that he's looking for the free kick there? He's not going anywhere. No support. And the referee is given the free kick that De Bruyne will take. It's deep, overhit, now to play for a goal kick. So no harm done in the end. More frustration for Manchester City.
Yeah, the thing is, in most games you'd think, City going through the motions and might get a point out of this, but that point won't be good enough if they want to win the title. Demarai Gray is going to come on, and he's coming on for Chowdhury, and for me that's a shame because how is that going to make him better? Chowdhury had a decent game for my money, and he worked so hard working back for his team, and you know for a fact that Demarai Gray is not going to do that. Maybe Puel saying let's go and win it, but that's great if Demarai Gray can find some end product, which largely speaking is missing from his game.
Yeah, I'm a bit bemused by that one because Chowdhury's been all over the park, putting in the tackles, and has worked hard for the cause, and Gray is a different type of player. He will want to get further forward and won't be, as you say, John, wanting to do as much of the dirty work. And there's the first change made by Claude Puel. Manchester United have doubled their lead against Huddersfield, 2-0 now. They lead against the Terriers at home.
Yeah, I looked at the Huddersfield team. I think it's one of those where they're doing that. I bet they don't lift a leg today. Some games they throw away, I think, Huddersfield, and it looked to me with their team selection, this is one of them.
Well, I think they take on Fulham at the weekend, so it's obviously a massive game for both of those clubs at the wrong end of the table. As here comes the cross from Delph towards Sterling, nodded down inside the box. Aguero back to Sterling. Sterling beats Albrighton. Can he get past Chilwell? He stands him up, then rolls it in behind for Aguero. Aguero pulls it back. Here's a chance for Sane. Sane can't get there, and eventually Leicester flick it out of the penalty area at the second attempt. Well, heart in mouth moment there for all of those in dark blue, but they managed to clear their lines.
Yeah, eventually. It's hit and miss there. Great play again by Sterling and Aguero, keeping that ball alive with so many defenders around him. Incredible stuff, really. And had that somehow at the back of the net, you couldn't have moaned. Again, Leicester just a bit too deep there.
Yeah, they're not quite pushing out as much as they should be, perhaps, in those situations. But for the most part, this tactical plan of Claude Puel is working very well indeed. 64 minutes played, one apiece. Independent off-tube studio commentary coverage as the ball goes out of play for another throw-in. Just one goalless draw in the Premier League so far. No surprises, perhaps, that it's Crystal Palace against Cardiff that there's no goals in. As the rest of the games have got something to cheered about for the most part. As the ball is back for Danilo on the halfway line. Infield it goes to Delph. Delph carries it a long way. And then he finds Bernardo Silva, can't find Sane with the pass, eventually crowded out of it. There's Vardy, he loses possession, and then backwards it goes. And chipped out to the far side. As Tottenham sound like they've got a fourth goal.
Harry Kane.
Harry Kane.
Doesn't John Francis' voice carry through?
It does carry a little bit, yeah. It's one of our colleagues covering the other games. Of course, you can listen to all the Premier League games today on this service. Brighton against Arsenal at 5:15, and then Watford against Chelsea at 7:30 this evening to round off Boxing Day. As the ball is with Gundogan again. It's all Manchester City at the minute. Aguero, lovely turn on the edge of the box. Then he goes down. Referee says, get up, no free kick. And then tidying up at the back are Manchester City under pressure from Jamie Vardy. Manchester City trying to turn the screw at the minute, it feels like.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they're back on the ball. They're beginning to create. Here they come down the right hand side. Chance for Raheem Sterling.
Yeah, drills it into Chilwell, gets it back, chips it infield, looking for De Bruyne. Great touch by De Bruyne, maybe a little bit too heavy, and Schmeichel is able to get out at his feet and make the stop. Just for a minute, it looked like it was opening up for De Bruyne.
Yeah, Schmeichel came out quite bravely, diving at the feet there, and yeah, again, needs to be just a little bit more precise, doesn't it, from Man City? The sort of in and outside the box, really, that bit of finesse just lacking.
There's an opportunity for Chilwell on the counter-attack for Leicester. He's got very far forward, given he's supposed to be the left-back. Rolls it on for Albrighton. Albrighton looking to get the cross in, but that goes back to Chilwell in the end. Chilwell will actually be invited to carry in field. Chilwell on his right foot, won't fancy a shot, chips it over the top. Vardy looking to nod it down. Gundogan has to hook it clear in the end. Collected by Mendy. Mendy forward for Maddison. Maddison allowed to turn, rolls it through for Vardy. Vardy first time. Great sliding challenge from Laporte to block the effort from Vardy. It's behind for a corner.
Yeah, very poor defending there. That, I think, from Man City, they were passive ball watching as you know, a bit of one-touch football for Leicester, and then a lovely ball from Maddison into Vardy, gave him half a chance, but a lovely sliding block from the big Frenchman, Aymeric Laporte. And it will be a corner kick though for the Foxes.
Yeah, it's going to be taken by Maddison. He's got this phenomenal goal creation record as the ball is played in towards the far post, collected by Ederson. No player has created more goal scoring chances than him in the Premier League this season, James Maddison, and there was another one that Jamie Vardy wasn't able to take. Still one apiece at the King Power Stadium between Leicester and Manchester City. Manchester City trying to turn the screw, but they can't keep Leicester out at the other end as they continue to create opportunities. Jamie Vardy denied brilliantly by a block by Laporte, having been played through on goal by James Maddison. At the other end, Sergio Aguero is blasted over from range, whilst there was a good opportunity for City in the box. They worked it between Sterling and Aguero well. When they came to pull the trigger, there was too many bodies in the way, and Leicester were able to scramble it clear. Certainly still in the balance this game, one apiece.
Yeah, sure is. We're at the three-quarter point as Kasper Schmeichel's got a goal kick. Yeah, I think somebody's going to grab themselves a second goal, and I'm still not entirely certain which way that's going to go. But here come Leicester with Albrighton to find Chilwell. Points ahead of him. Ball goes to Demarai Gray on that left-hand side. First chance for him to get involved, really. Ball back with Ndidi. De Bruyne comes to chase him out. Delph trying to clear his lines, but gets a second attempt there on Ricardo. The ball stabbed forward here for Sane. They've got numbers forward. Good ball to De Bruyne. He's got Sergio Aguero. Finds Sane into the box. He goes. That ball just gets big on him. You know, I thought that the first touch needed to just be that little bit better there.
Yeah, it did. It wasn't a great touch from Sane as he was running through on goal. It was good counter-attacking play by City again. Leicester maybe starting to look a little bit leggy because they're just struggling to keep up with Manchester City now. 20 minutes or so to go, and the chances starting to come at a bit more of a regular pace as we're going to see a change for City. De Bruyne off and David Silva on.
Yep, and De Bruyne not been at his magnificent best today, and David Silva, who's growing a bit of hair again. Nice to see. Yeah, he's back in the fold, back from injury. Maybe he's got that little bit of magic, and he's just awesome in the David Silva. So I don't see why he can't create that little bit of magic. Desperate times though, call for desperate measure. I'm sure they would have liked just to keep him on the bench here and coast through to victory today, but Leicester are not being put on the earth to make things easier for Manchester City, and at Leicester City giving it their all and could even nick this game. One apiece at the minute, closing on 70 minutes. 20 minutes then. I mean, it's as Chris has said, there's a lot of season left. And Man City, I mean, clearly are good enough to put a string of wins together. But, are Liverpool going to throw it away? Some suspect that when we get back to Champions League, they may struggle. But, for Man City, they don't want to give away too much ground. Middle of the park, and Ndidi battles away. That's great from him. They're winning a lot of 50-50s right now, Chris. As Albright puts a good ball into the middle. Vardy's able to turn, stabs it forward. Oh, it's only just behind Maddison.
On the counter, they still look very dangerous, don't they? The Foxes that get it forward quickly. And there, Vardy has got Maddison pretty close up with him. Damari Gray's playing out on the right-hand side now, so Maddison is not quite playing up alongside Vardy, but he's just tucked in behind him, so carrying that dual threat, and it's end-to-end. As you say, somebody looks like they're going to get the win. It's opened up nicely.
Yeah, Sané now on the ball. He's held up by Ricardo. Puts an early ball in, but this stings the palms of Schmeichel. But he's more than capable of bringing that ball in. Leicester 1, Man City 1. Yeah, and it could be one of those season-defining things. I think we'd always look back to that Palace game and the Andros Townsend goal as something that, you know, was thrown a spanner into the Man City works. But you know, the equal of that. I'll look back at Albrighton's headed goal, and what a brilliant goal that was by Leicester. But City keep on going here. They're still dominating possession. They're still marginally the better team, but this time they can't find Raheem Sterling, and Albrighton back.
It's Kennedy to go off. I think it is going to be the Chelsea loanee to be replaced. I think, is that the youngster Longstaff who's coming on?
Yeah, it was indeed. I did call this one that Kennedy's had very little influence on this game. If he's not getting on the ball, then you wouldn't really have him in there for his defensive duties, so he makes way. Like I said, the youngster Longstaff coming on for Newcastle, and his first port of call is going to be to help defend this corner, which is going to be an outswinger from the right foot of Alexander-Arnold. Not the worst corner in the world either, and Van Dijk has a couple of swings at that one, and in the end a free kick's awarded. I think it might have been for a high boot. Van Dijk is starting to look a bit of a goal threat for Liverpool the last couple of weeks.
He certainly is. He's such a physical presence in there, and the footballing ability he has as well. Just a slight nudge in the back there of Jamal Lascelles, who flung himself in the air to make the referee aware of the contact. But I just wonder if that Newcastle change, whether that's just saying that Rafa Benitez doesn't really believe they can get back into the match, and it's a case of giving a youngster an opportunity at bringing fresh legs on rather than genuinely believing that they can get the 2 goals they need. Longstaff, good player. I've seen him play in the League Cup earlier in this season. He's a good ball playing midfielder, but is he the player to bring on when you're trailing 2-0?
Has he got anyone to bring on when you're trailing 2-0 at Anfield? You could argue for that case, really. It doesn't have the strongest of benches. Rafa Benitez, as a cross comes in, and that's half an opportunity there. It's a difficult one for Hayden, and Newcastle probably would have had other players that rather that opportunity had fell to, because it was a high ball in, and on the volley Hayden with the left foot just prods it wide.
Yeah, it's a really good ball from Richie on the left hand side. Second really good delivery he's produced in this match, and it's a difficult opportunity, isn't it, for Isaac Hayden? As you say, not renowned for his goal scoring ability. It's slightly surprising to see him the furthest man forward, but never really believed that he was going to find the back of the net with that volley, trying to side foot it into the back of the net, but always slicing it well wide of the target.
Yeah, it was indeed, as Liverpool take over again with Fabinho. Robertson forever just hugging the left touchline here, always supplying the opportunity for Liverpool to have that out ball. Swings it across to Alexander-Arnold. Little chip ball forward here for Sturridge. Sturridge, immaculate control there, bringing it down well, and then just maybe it's a twist or turn too many as the ball rolls out for a throw-in, which is going to go the way of the home side. Everton have got a 4th against Burnley. Digna with his 2nd of the afternoon. First one was a free kick, and Tottenham have got 5 now, so we'll confirm that goal scorer for you shortly. Tottenham 5, Bournemouth 0. As Liverpool win a free kick for a foul on Shaqiri. Dummett it was who was deemed to have fouled Swiss international. There's going to be a slight delay in play before this free kick is taken, and I'm with you, Tom. It looks like Newcastle are sort of settling for a 2-0 defeat.
Yeah, as you say, there's not that many options on the bench, but someone like Rondon or Perez could come on if you were genuinely looking to try and get back into the game. You'd expect one of those two to replace Kennedy, but to bring on a central midfielder for a wide man suggests they are just trying to go for damage limitations.
Yeah, and they'll be looking to limit the damage here as the free kick comes in. It's deflected as it hit the two-man wall. Kiwi has the chance now to swing this one in, but it's a poor ball and goes straight out of play for a goal kick to Newcastle. no more than a consolation goal for the Yorkshiremen as Liverpool, as we've said for much of the afternoon, in possession. Crossfield pass towards Klein. Klein chested into Mane. Mane to Fabinho. Fabinho, nice little ball there into the feet of Salah. Salah trying to work his magic on the edge of the penalty area. However, he lost control. The ball's taken a nick off Salah and goes out for a throw-in for Newcastle. But it's 9 minutes on the clock. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0, and couldn't really have been any more comfortable for the home team.
Yeah, this game is completely over. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0, but Liverpool it is who are still trying to push forward and get a fifth goal to add further gloss to the scoreline. They came ever so close as well through Sadio Mane. He was played in over the top by a lovely flighted pass by Dejan Lovren. Good control by Mane, taking it in his stride, and then under pressure from DeAndre Yedlin, he hits a really crisp right foot effort, but it's always rising 2 or 3 yards over the top of the crossbar. Mane's came close on a couple of occasions in this game. That one was probably one of his better opportunities. Newcastle not really threatening. It's been damage limitation for them throughout the second half, really. It's Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0.
Yes, Yedlin tries to head this one down. Poor header from the American there, and Liverpool again just seeing if they can add the icing to the cake here, going into 3 minutes of additional time. They have a throw-in line with the edge of the penalty area. That throw-in's laid into the path here of Shaqiri. Shaqiri, after a couple of headers, manages to, and that could be a fifth there for Liverpool as the ball comes to the back stick, and it's Sturridge who gets his head onto that one. I think a corner's been awarded, so it must have taken a nick off a Newcastle defender, but good chance there for Sturridge.
Yeah, he's just trying to nod it down into the near post. Might have just came off Yedlin there on its way through, so it is a corner kick to Liverpool, but continuing to push forward, and players like Sturridge will want to try and get themselves on the score sheet, so there's still an appetite from a Liverpool point of view to try and grab another goal.
Yeah, certainly is. There's a bit of wrestling in the penalty area there between Lascelles and Van Dijk as the corner comes in. It is cleared here by Newcastle. Willing running still here from Yedlin as he puts a ball forward. Chance here for Newcastle as Alisson isn't too convincing, and the strike surely must be coming in at the edge of the penalty area. Alisson does really well to get back into position and make the save, and that's probably Newcastle's best chance of the match.
Yeah, he does just about enough in the end, Alisson. I think it might be Longstaff, the youngster, it falls to, and he's trying to find the perfect opportunity to strike. I don't think he had full confidence in taking it on with his left foot. He could have hit it first time, moves it onto his left, resists that temptation. Liverpool, in fairness, get a lot of bodies between Longstaff and the goal. That gives Alisson enough time to recover, and it's a good save in the end from the goalkeeper. Not an easy opportunity for Longstaff, but he probably would have been better served taking it quicker.
Yeah, in hindsight, but there was a lot of bodies, wasn't there, between Longstaff and the goal, and he was just looking to find just that extra yard of space, but unfortunately for him, by the time he'd done that, Alisson had managed to get back into a position to make the save. It's left hand side for Liverpool again with Klein. Just seeing out the last few seconds here as Van Dijk plays the ball forward into the path of Salah. Out to the right hand side, Alexander-Arnold, and Klein here getting forward. Might fancy getting on the score sheet himself as he takes the strike on deflection, just takes it harmlessly into the arms of Dubravka. So we've just got 30 seconds left of the 3 minutes additional time. Job done for Liverpool. They're going to remain top of the table, going to increase the lead at the top of the table by the looks of things, barring a miraculous recovery in the last few seconds from Manchester City. And Newcastle can't be too pleased with the afternoon. They've sat back, they've tried to do damage limitation, and like you say, Tom, ended up getting beat heavily anyway.
Yeah, it hasn't worked. It's a difficult one, isn't it, for teams from the bottom half of the table coming away to what is a rampant Liverpool at the moment. I do feel they could have gave it more of a go in this second half, as the final whistle has actually been blown. So a routine victory for Liverpool. They've beaten Newcastle at Anfield by 4-0, and depending on the final scoreline between Leicester and Manchester City, they could well be extending their advantage at the top of the standings. So thank you for joining us. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0.
Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match?